All right, so let's get into small businesses because you seem like you have a passion to small business, and it seems like most local SEOs I speak to really have a deep care for small businesses. So how did that start with you? What small businesses attract you the most? But first, a message from our sponsor. SE Rankings is a top-rated SEO platform designed to help agencies and businesses of all sizes automate their daily tasks and make data-driven decisions. You can get your 14 free day trial at seranking.com. Check it out.
I really like small local, meaning not franchises, not the the big box stores. I do a lot of side work for people that are solos. I also during the day do a lot for attorneys who have, say, 1 location, 2 locations, 3 locations, and they really need to get their names out there. And one of the ways, obviously we optimize the websites for local. I mean, beautifully optimize them. So there is absolutely no question where they're located and how to reach them. But now I also am intent on making sure their Google listings show up where they're supposed to by, again, using all the little optimization strategies that help their specific niche. Because, like cover images need to be different based on the categories of the business. And sometimes people just kind of don't realize it at all, and you tell them one thing and all of a sudden 2 months later they come back to you and they're like, they're like, I live for that. I live when people come back after, or I go into the analytics and all of a sudden I go, what did I do 2 months ago? I have one business where this person had, I don't even know. It was just like a throwaway cover image, and boy, I changed it. I did a few other things, and like 2 months later, all of a sudden, his traffic is like up. So I love the little things you can do. Sometimes even it's just changing things around, making minor changes, and it makes a big difference. Major difference.
That's awesome. I mean, a lot of these small businesses, they need a lot, but they don't have a lot of budget. How do you balance the two of they need a lot of your attention, they don't understand it, they don't have nobody internally that really gets it, and you have to kind of handhold them, but you don't really have the time to do that because they don't have enough budget. So how do you kind of balance the two?
Happily enough, I am not the person during my day work, I should say, who is dealing with a budget, which is good. We have an ongoing situation. We care for all our clients equally. When I'm dealing with people in other situations, like away from my day job, it's often a matter of me just kind of explaining things to them, how to do it, sending them resources. A lot of times it's really almost directing them to another developer because some of the things that they want to do, they just can't do. And you have to explain this to them and you have to get them onto the right path. So a lot of times, as you say, it's hand-holding, but it's also just sending them the resources so they can figure out on their own, because a lot of times Google is not very transparent with what they want.
Cool, and it kind of that kind of bridges why you're a product expert and formerly top contributor, because you spend a lot of time helping people in the forums for free, solve problems that they just have no clue about. How do you get involved in that? Yeah.
That's the thing, is that people come to the forum, they come to me on the side, they come to me on the forum, and a lot of it is they just, they know what they want to do, they just don't know how to get it done. And a lot of it is just simply, either explaining it to them or sending them a resource, because there are just times when the answer is so simple, especially with the new UI of how to edit Google listings. It's just thrown everybody off.
Yeah.
So whereas before they would just go in and upload a photo, now it's, I've got all these buttons, where do I go? Or how do I even find my listing?
Right.
So that's
Google Fix It makes it easier. Just Google my business and you'll find it. And you're like, what do you mean my business? What do you Google my?
I can't find it. Are you in the right account?
Are you logged in?
Wait. It's like, I have four. But one of my favorite things that I have been telling people, and they're like, oh, when I point out you can't just have one user on the listing.
Right.
I had one recently that I dealt with, and I felt so bad for these people. It was a business where the owner passed away, and he was the only user.
Yeah.
And they couldn't get in. They didn't know what email. They had no information. Also, that reminded me to remind some other people, make sure you have X number of users, because you don't want to be that person who gets stuck in the end. And it's a simple thing. But those Google listings, I mean, some businesses I've seen, it brings in over, 50, 60, 70% of their leads. And to have that not be working efficiently, especially when it's a free tool, frustrating.
And you see a lot in the forums. It's one thing I love about the local SEO community specifically is that they're so giving of their time. They care so much about businesses. And how much of your personal time do you spend in these forums helping people?
Far too much. I spend a lot. I would say, I don't even know. But I will say I answer a few hundred posts a month. And what I would say, I will give full credit to the product experts, especially in the forum that I'm working in. They are so giving and so generous. And it's kind of like we have like a little side benefit of it is that we end up seeing problems sometimes before they have pulled out and we can alert Google. But one of the best things is that you go in there and sometimes by answering a question, you figure something out yourself, and preferably before it becomes a bigger problem for either your clients or, for others. But the product experts are the nicest community. The people I have dealt with have been friendly, have been welcoming, and very generous with their knowledge. It's a great place if you don't have an answer to a Google question. The forum is a good place to go and work with the product experts.
Cool. Kind of running out of time a little bit, but you probably take a lot of, you probably see a lot of anger there too. And people take it out on you sometimes, right?
They're all in capital letters. Why is this happening to me? Please fix this. A lot of people don't understand that the people answering the questions are not people who work for Google. So you have to start out by being very polite. I think we actually get extra, kudos or something for being polite, for being respectful. But you just want to calm them down and say, okay, your question is not unique. I understand it's frustrating. And this is what we're going to do. Either give me this information or do this, and here's where you go. And you give them a resource. And all of a sudden they come back and they're like, I'm sorry.
Right.
Thank you for your information. But sometimes it's just really just kind of talking them back from the edge. It's not the end of the world. This is what you can do. Or, you know what? This is unusual. I'm going to help you by escalating it up to Google. But yeah, sometimes...
Right.
Sometimes the things people get upset about are just like, this is big, but it's not that big.
Right. And they don't know. Right.
For their business, you don't know. For them, it could be the end of the world. But that's why I like going on there because...
Right. And it helps you also build a different personality, more thick skin, I guess, and stuff like that.
Yes.
And sometimes it's just, with all the bugs in Google, especially in the math space, they could blame you, but it's not your fault because you don't work there.
Yes, and also the thing is, again, is that they're not as transparent as they should be. I shouldn't say should be, could be. A lot of things are not hard to figure out if you know where to start. And
right.
Sometimes people don't know the term for them, right? Like if you know what the name of this thing is, a lot of times you can find it. It's just that you need somebody to kind of direct you. And that's why the forum is such a great place, because you have all these others, whether they're product experts or not, who will come in and say, oh, you know what, I've had that before, and this is where you need to go.
Awesome. And then there's spam issues, people trying to spam them. I mean, it's not as bad, I think, as it used to be, the spam, like 10, 15 years ago, but it's still pretty bad. What are your thoughts on that? It's
so incredibly frustrating. The things that I have seen recently, it's just embarrassing. Everything from, holding contests for people to spam your competitor, or having things up there for 2 years, a response to a post, just saying this business is offering, whatever, gift cards. And it's been up there so long and nobody kind of reported it because nobody knew that was against the rules. And the spam, it just gets so bad and so awful. And sometimes, but I give them credit, sometimes it's so intricate, it's hard to see that it's actually, you try to figure out what they're doing. I've seen so many different kinds of spam. It's amazing. I mean, I'm lucky because I can see what it is and I can kind of tell people how to work with it. But I feel so bad for some of these businesses who get these people and they don't know what to do. And you sometimes go on a listing that's been up for a while and it's been there for months and it's affected everything for their business. Right. And they didn't know. And all of a sudden it's like somebody told them to go in there. And that's what I feel really good, is when you can go in there and you can help their business. And all of a sudden they're like, oh, you helped us. And we're back, from a 3 point this to a 4.5 again. Thank you so much. And I'm like, yes. Yes.
Right. And sometimes the spam issues are a result of Google issues, like Google's software issues, and sometimes the result of somebody just thinking they should do something that ends up hurting you, and they don't mean to hurt you. And sometimes it's just like they're bad people on the internet. And some of those industries are more known, like the locksmith and stuff like that. And some of them are less known.
And you know what? Like I said, the worst I think is when it was intentional and it was by one of your competitors, and you can tell that it was by one of your competitors. Those are the ones I think that hurt the most. Because I had something like that recently, and I was just like, really? There was no reason for that. But, people will be people. And happily enough, there are channels for remediation, right? That you can either flag these reviews, or you can add them to a redressal form, or you can, if you have to go further, you can. But at least there are channels for it, and they don't have to sit there and wait till basically your business folds as a result of it, which is good. And I will say Google has been very good about this recently. They have been good about if you prove full well that this is spam, and you have all the information together. When you go on the forum, the best thing you can do, if you're reporting something on the forum, is to have all your information in your post, right? You have the name of your listing or listings, a link to it, what's going on, proof if you're reporting specific 2 or 3 reviews. Say who left those reviews, maybe even link to them if you can. The more information that you put in the initial post that you put up there, the more likely somebody is to help you and get it dealt with fast. That's the big, it's like with reinstatements. When you submit a reinstatement, if you can't just say, I fixed it and ask for reinstatement. You have to be able to prove the legitimacy of your business. The more information that's there, the faster it'll get dealt with.
Cool. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to meet me here. Thank you so much. Can you tell people on the camera here how they can learn more about you, follow you online?
Oh, beautiful. I'm on Twitter at Bubbles Up. You can probably find me at Amy Toman, but it's at Bubbles Up. Or you can contact me, Amy at AMT, my initials, amtdigitalconsultants.com. But Bubbles Up, my DMs are usually open.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
And Barry and I are about to go out for an ice swim. I don't know if you can see this yet. Absolutely lovely out there.